everyone. Welcome to December. This month's theme is about fostering a sense of connectedness. I know that I oftentimes feel a little untethered during the holiday season, especially that frantic time between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. And so I wanted to create a practice that allows you to arrive home in your body and to connect with yourself. So let's start our practice by finding a comfortable seat, maybe propping our seats up to allow our spine to really elongate, for our crown to reach toward the sky, and settle down our eyes, tuning into the breath, and begin just observing your inhales and exhales. Can you notice the quality of the breath? If you're constricting or forcing, and without changing that, just notice, just tuning in, just connecting. If you're holding on to any tension in your body, simply ask it to release. And taking your right hand and placing it on your heart, on your chest, and your left hand placing it on top of your navel or underneath your navel, whatever feels natural to you, and begin deepening your attunement to your breath. Notice your belly rise as you inhale, and watch it as it travels up to your chest. And on your exhale, notice the sinking of your chest and the release that travels down through your belly. Tuning into that a few times. Connecting first to our breath before we connect fully to our body through movement. One final deep inhale in and a release as you exhale out. Let's meet in child's pose. And if you haven't already, gather all of the comfy things. So we're gonna definitely be moving briefly, building a little bit of heat, especially as we begin to experience some slightly cooler weather, and then we'll slow way down. So sinking our hips back toward our heels, resting our forehead on the floor, reaching our fingertips out in front of us, and notice your belly breathing in between your legs. Once again, notice the quality of breath here. On your next inhale, press up through your hands and knees, coming onto all fours, tabletop, hips stacked above your knees, shoulders above wrists, finding a neutral spine. And on your inhale, release your belly down, gazing up toward the ceiling. And on your exhale, dome the back, pressing through your hands, cow. Moving through any variation that feels right and connected to your own experience. Connecting to your breath. Beginning to connect more deeply to your body and your physical experience. Finding some barrel motions through your chest and hips. Anything organic. And on your next exhale, find some stillness as we neutralize our spine and tuck our toes. Turning on your core, press into your hands and lift your knees just an inch or so up off the floor, activating your core. And on your next exhale, press your hips up and back, finding our first downward dog of the day. Bending through your knees so that your hips have some buoyancy here. Your hamstrings feel a slight stretch. Pedaling out your dog, walking your dog, as they say, dropping one heel and then the next. And when you're ready, find a little stillness. Look forward between your hands and slowly walk tiptoe by tiptoe up toward the top of your mat. Grabbing opposite shoulders and allow your head to hang heavy. Generous bend in the knees once more to allow your torso to fully release on the top of your thighs. What can you let go of? On your next inhale, place your palms to your shins and lengthen through your spine, finding a flat back, halfway lift. And exhale, release. Inhale, sweep the arms up, upward salute, reaching toward the sky, long through both side bodies. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, finds a flat back, crown shines forward. Exhale, forward fold. Step one foot back, and then the next, coming into a high plank, turning on our core again. Stay here for a round of breath. And on your exhale, lower your knees and hug your elbows to your chest as you slowly lower toward the ground, releasing all the way down to the ground. Inhale, brings your chest slightly forward, shining it forward. Cobra. Exhale, release forehead to the ground. Shifting your hips back toward your heels for a short child's pose. Breathe here. Pressing up onto all fours, tucking your toes, coming back into downward facing dog. Pedaling out your dog here, finding any movement that might feel good, might feel extra connected to your physical experience. And begin to settle. Grounding through your left foot, right toes come to sky, three-legged dog. And on your inhale, shift your knee forward to meet your chest and nose and plant your right foot in between both hands. Pressing through your left hand, revolve open to your right, revolved twist. And exhale, right hand meets the floor. Lower your back knee, your left knee, untuck your toes, and reach your arms up and forward and long toward the sky, turning on that left hip. And on your exhale, shift your hips back, find a half split. Right leg comes long, right toes point toward the sky. Stretch in your right hamstring. And stay here a moment. Tuning back into your breath if you've lost it. Plant your right foot, shifting your right knee forward, tuck your back toe, lift your left knee up off the ground. And find a little movement here, rocking back and forth, gazing about a foot, foot and a half in front of your right toes. Plant your hands there and reach your left toe up, standing splits. One round of breath. And on your exhale, curtsy your left toe behind your right, wing your arms back, brighten the chest. Crown shines forward. Inhale, upward salute. Once again, long through the seams of your side body. Inhale, your single leg mountain. Bring your left knee up in alignment with your left hip. Find some stability. You may want to move around. Your body may not find stability yet, but just be with it. It's all welcome. Breathing here. And on your exhale, reach your left foot toward the back edge of your mat, opening up your hips toward the long edge of your mat. Coming into star pose, you'll get a view from behind, but reaching all four of your extremities out to all four corners of the room. And exhale, sink your hips down, bending through your knees, goddess squat. So bringing your hands to prayer at heart center. Inhale shoots you back up through star pose. And when you're ready, rotate your toes to face forward, face perpendicular to the long edge of your mat, bending at your waist. Forward fold, wide-legged forward fold, high. Releasing your hamstrings. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, release further. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows here and swaying side to side. On your next inhale, finding a lateral lunge, bending into your left knee so that your right toes reach up toward the sky, winging your arms toward the back edge of your mat, and crawling over, turning your front right toe toward the front edge of your mat, pivoting your hips so they too face the front edge of your mat, reaching up, high lunge. Inhale, exhale, frame your foot. Step that right foot back to meet the left, coming back into high plank. Staying here for just one moment, and if a full chaturanga is in your practice, feel free to move through that. Otherwise, lower your knees and release your belly all the way down to the mat. Inhale, cobra, shining your chest forward. Exhale, release. Shift your hips back toward your heels, coming into child's pose. And take a few rounds of breath to settle the mind, settle the breath, settle the body. Maybe fluttering the lips if that would feel satisfying, or making any audible sighs or exhales. Grounding the nervous system. Coming back into all fours, we'll move through that on the other side. Tuck your toes, lift your knees just a few inches up off the ground, and shift your hips back as you exhale, downward facing dog. Finding stillness, ground through the right foot as you reach your left toes toward the sky. And on your exhale, step your left foot in between both hands. Ground through the right hand as your left hand revolves open, finding a gentle twist through your spine. Exhale, release left hand down, lower right knee, untuck right toes, shift your hips back, reaching your left toes toward the sky, half splits. That stretch through your left hamstring. Plant your left toes, shift forward, plant hands, tuck back toe, coming into that low lunge once more, and finding some movement, finding some buoyancy here again. Shift forward, finding a standing splits with your right toes shining up toward the sky. Inhale as you reach your right toes just a little bit higher. Exhale, curtsy your right toes behind your left, winging your arms back like a cape. Inhale, upward salute. 10 toes face forward, reaching toward the sky. Oh, settle. Connect. On your inhale, reach your right knee to chest, coming in line with your right hip. If you want to wobble, see if you can find a focal point on the ground or wall in front of you to steady your gaze. And when you're ready, open up to that wide-legged star pose toward the opposite edge, long edge of your mat. Toes face diagonally out. Reaching your arms up, star pose, spread them long and energetically outward. And on your exhale, sink into a goddess squat. I love the imagery of this pose, goddess squat. It just feels really powerful. Inhale, reach your arms back up, star pose, and turning your toes to face perpendicular to the mat. And on your exhale, hinging at the hips, draping them forward, wide-legged forward fold. Oh, release your head toward the mat. And just breathe. Just tuning back into your breath once more. Bending through your right knee and lifting your left toes up off the ground, winging your arms toward the back of your mat, lateral lunge. And on your inhale, turn all 10 toes to meet the front edge of your mat, squaring off your hips, reach your arms out forward and up, long through the side body, high lunge. And exhale, frame your left foot, pressing through your hands, reaching your left foot to meet the right, high lunge. Move through a vinyasa of your choice. I'll lower to my knees, shine my heart forward. Exhale, release. Shift hips back toward child's pose. Hips meet the heels. Oh. Pressing back up to child's, back up to all fours. Tabletop, tuck your toes, shift your hips up and back. Any audible expressions are always welcome. It's a great way to down-regulate the nervous system. Okay, beginning to settle down. Plant through the left foot, reach your right toes toward the sky. And when you bring your right knee toward your chest, allow it to come toward your right hand, setting up for pigeon pose, or in yin, we call it sleeping swan. Some yin poses are named a little bit differently. So in a vinyasa practice, even our restful poses are a little bit more active, but in our yin poses, in our yin practice, we really want to get as comfortable and cozy and supported as possible because we'll be here for a few minutes. So I brought all sorts of blankets and pillows, and I invite you to do the same. I will take a blanket under my right hip and a pillow to rest my head. So just beginning to drape my body forward. Find a position that you can be here for about 4 minutes. This is an opportunity to really settle the mind, settle the body, let the muscles relax, let the joints stretch, the fascia stretch. This is not about as deep as you can go, but in yin, we find our edge, find that point that feels just a little bit sensational. And then we just rest, closing down the eyes, maybe turning your left cheek toward your prop, the pillow, blanket, floor, bolster. Yin practice is my forever favorite practice because I feel like I'm always going and always doing. This is forced stillness. Maybe not forced, but highly, highly encouraged. So as you breathe, ask your body what it can let go of. Begin to breathe small movements back into your body, deepening the breath. And when you're ready, press up through your hands to lift your chest off of whatever prop you're using. Slide any props out from under your hips, rolling onto our right hip and swinging your left leg forward. Coming into half butterfly. I'll face you for this one. Right foot comes into the inner seam of your left thigh. And we're going to be leaning over, extending over our extended leg. So find whatever props might work for that. My hamstrings tend to be extra tight from sitting. So I do extra props. You can, let's see, props are out of reach. Extending through that left leg. I might stack some blocks or books.
so that I can rest my head. This is not about how deep you can go. I know that I said that, but I think that it bears repeating, right? This is not about flattening your body to the floor, but just finding a little sensation and then being with your own stillness. We'll be here for another 3 or 4 minutes, so find something that feels sustainable. If at any time you notice that the sensation becomes one of pain rather than stretch, back off. It's not a competition. It's just yoga. Taking 4 more mindful and unrushed breaths on your own. And pressing into your hands to slowly walk your torso upright. Maybe closing down your eyes to tune in to that inner experience. Just noticing. Moving any props out of the way. And finding any little wiggle movements to reanimate your body. Maybe just rotating through your left hip. Maybe shaking out the legs. Just finding a little movement here. And we'll set up for a forward fold in yin. This one's called caterpillar. I always like to have
my hips propped up to change my pelvic orientation so the tips just slightly forward. And I keep a really generous bend in my knees here, using my blocks. Once more, maybe even on this setting, I might even add a pillow. That might feel good. No, that doesn't feel good. But tipping your chest forward. Once again, knees bent. Remember that we will be here for about 4 minutes. So find your edge and then settle. One of my favorite experiences in yin is noticing the subtle shifts that happen as your body begins to relax more and more over the course of one pose. Sometimes it feels a little twitchy to me. It's like next level or something. But I love watching the body melt in a way as your muscles turn off their tension and allow an even deeper relaxation. If at any time your body is called to deepen into the posture, feel free to let that happen too. Begin to slowly walk your torso back upright, keeping your eyes soft, elongating through your torso, settling down your mind. And if you got caught making a mental list like I did, Can you imagine putting that list in a box, putting the box aside? You'll get to it in a minute. So stretching out through the right foot, we'll come into half butterfly on the right side. Any props that might feel good. You might want to keep that blanket underneath your hips. That can help with a similar pelvic tilt orientation. But setting up to find that spot of sensation on the right and paying attention to the direction of your torso. We really want your torso facing out forward over your extended right leg so that you can drape here. And once again, taking any amount of bend in your right leg that feels good in your body and draping your torso forward, finding something to rest your head on, noticing the sensation in your hamstring, but if it's pain, backing off. Do you notice that these two sides are different? I am certainly noticing that my right side is even tighter than my left. So this feels extra juicy. If you notice any little bits of tension creeping back into your body, can you connect enough to your breath to allow that tension to melt away? Sometimes it's just as simple as noticing. I notice a little bit of tension in my foot and in my hamstring.
Can I relax? Can I let go? Four more rounds of breath, unhurried. And begin to press into your hands. Walk your hands back toward your hips, long through the spine once more. Connecting once again through your breath and finding any little wiggles. I might find star pose, pressing through my left hand to reach my hips up. Oh, that creates a nice length through the side body. Coming back down, shaking any stuck bits of tension out. And we'll come into sleeping swan or pigeon on the left side. It doesn't have to look good, however you get there. Does not have to look cute. Just make your way. Ooh, and I find that this side is a lot tighter than my other side, so I'm gonna gather even more props. So reaching the torso up before you allow it to sink, melt downward, resting your right cheek to whatever props you've gathered for yourself so that you can fully sink into this position. And once again, we'll be here for 3 to 4 minutes.
begin to deepen your breath. And if any audible sighs or grunts or hoarse flutters of your lip would feel good, explore that. And pressing up. Or if you'd like to stay there for a while longer, I fully encourage you to do that. Removing any props. Slowly making your way, rolling onto your left hip, swinging your legs around. If there's any final position that might feel really good in your body, I encourage you to explore that now. Otherwise, find an opportunity for extended rest. So I'm going to take a rolled up blanket and put it below my knees. And I'll take a block on my hips for a little bit of grounding. But really get comfortable, so comfortable. I actually might take this blanket and fold it for a little bit of support under my neck and head, but rolling all the way down onto your back, taking up as much room as you can. Reaching your arms out in a deep V. A couple deep breaths before you let your body fully settle into rest.
begin to deepen your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest, and finding some animation through your fingers and toes, rolling through your wrists and ankles. If you'd like to stay in Shavasana for any longer, I definitely encourage that. Rest is so important, especially during this chaotic season of life. If you are ready to move, roll onto one side and pause. This period of integration from rest back to real life can be a little jarring, so take as long as you'd like, as long as feels right. And when you feel your body start to come back online, press up into a seat. Lifting your hips if that would feel good, but moving extra slow, extra mindfully, keeping your eyes soft or closing them down once more. And just as we started with our right hand over our heart and our left hand on our belly, connecting to our breath, connecting to ourself. We'll seal our practice by pressing our palms together at heart center and bowing our mind to the well of our chest in a humble gratitude for this practice, and especially for moments of rest in chaos. We say Satnam. Thank you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I know that I needed this. I was racing around this morning and found that I had a little bit of extra time in my schedule. So moving to slow down is one of my favorite ways to reconnect with my heart more than anything, but with myself. And I hope that you find a similar connection so that you can move out in your world in a more connected manner. If anything comes up for you in this practice that you'd like to talk about in session, I fully encourage that. Be extra kind to yourself. This is a wild moment in our existence, so kindness matters, but kindness to yourself especially. Take care.